You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about Angel Reese and this unapologetically podcast she did the other day. I did a video where we talked about the fact that I guess all of this racist behavior has been thrust upon Angel Reese, so to speak. And she came out and decided to, in a broad bubble, a broad envelope, blame Caitlin Clark fans for all of this. And the one thing that we did not touch on a lot in all this was the fact that evidently she is saying some Caitlin Clark fans have sexualized her or portrayed her online in various ways using artificial intelligence, AI, I don't know, and things like that sent to her family members. And I guess blaming Caitlin Clark fans for the sexualizing of her? All right, well, nobody condones that kind of, behavior by fans. Number one, are we sure they're Caitlin Clark fans? Question mark. Or is things being done to make Caitlin Clark fans look bad? Because what I've seen on TV, Caitlin Clark fans look like regular families. I mean, seriously, and a lot of them look just like everyday basketball fans. All right, and one of my favorite guys to consume online via podcast is Jason Whitlock. Of course, he was on ESPN for years, Fox Sports for years, Outkick, and he's with the Blaze now. He's got the Fearless podcast. Well, he also heard this comment, this statement that Angel Reese gave on her podcast, and he said, wait a second here. If you're going to blame anybody for sexualizing Angel Reese, then blame Angel Reese. And I understand what he's saying. Before we jump into his comments, let's listen to what she said the other day.
Whenever you think of Angel Reese, people often mention Caitlin Clark. You've said in interviews, there's no beef, but the media keeps going on. So how do you feel about that situation?
Caitlin is an amazing player, and I've always thought she was an amazing player. We've been playing each other since high school. So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, I'm talking about people have come down to my address, follow me home. It's come down to that. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me naked, literally.
Really?
They have sent it to my family members. My family members are uncles are sending it to me
no.
Are you naked on Instagram? It sucks to see that, and it's really hard that I have to go through that, and now seeing other players even having to go through that. But at the end of the day, it's a game that we do both love, but there is no hate.
Okay, so she's saying she's getting all these things, right? And Whitlock responded to this, and I don't think he's wrong. Before we jump into these comments, I mean, look, this is something posted by her. All right, she's in a half-cut dress with a half a breast hanging out right here. Or what about these outfits? And Whitlock makes a really good point here. All right, let's just check some of these outfits out. And he comes out and says, and let's just take a look at this, that, number one, why are you blaming Caitlin Clark fans for this, right? One of the problems with all this was it's Iowa fans and Indiana fans. Man, she's getting awfully specific. She's obviously talking about Clark fans, and I just don't believe that there is a majority of fans that act this way, and number one, take the time out of their lives to do this kind of thing. I just don't, right? I called her out on the racism stuff, but Whitlock said this, quote, how do you unpack Caitlin Clark fans are the reason people are making AI pictures of me? How do you get there? What does that have to do with Caitlin Clark? It's a great question. She puts herself out there, even on this podcast, stomach out, breast barely hidden, Legs front and center everywhere. Whitlock claimed that Reese was connecting being sexualized to Clark fans, putting the blame on the rookie forward. She has sexualized herself. And now, I'm shocked that people have sexualized me, and somehow she's connecting it to being a Caitlin Clark fan. I just don't see the connection. It's like everything bad that happens to me somehow is connected to Caitlin Clark. That's stupid and it's dishonest. She's just clout chasing. She's using Caitlin Clark. What's Caitlin Clark done to you? ? Nothing. I mean, let's be real. The one thing we know for sure is that is a lot of people wouldn't know who the hell Angel Reese was without Caitlin Clark, and we've talked about that. Her popularity is tied to Caitlin Clark because of the stuff that went down over between Iowa and LSU. All right? And it came into the league, right? And again, she accused these fans of all these different things, and she didn't say a very minute minority of fans or this and that and the other. It's like her fans. Was that, well, number one, her fans watched you act very heinously towards her during games, celebrating, Kennedy Carter putting the Ed Reed into the side of Caitlin Clark. We watch you run your mouth and talk about being the villain, and you're more than happy to play the villain. Remember the Joker shoes, and Caitlin Clark went out there and promptly pulled a Batman on her ass and put the sky on the floor. But she did it on the basketball court. But, Whitlock, he's got a hell of a point here. She's talking about being a model, and she puts all this stuff out on social media, this and that and the other. She brought up Instagram. You're all over social media. Really? I mean, AI is going to be something that anybody with any name of any sort is going to have to worry about. That's going to be a thing, all right? But the idea that she's blaming Caitlin Clark fans again for the sexualizing of her? Really? Who really sexualized who here? You? Yourself? Whitlock's right. I mean, her bare skin is everywhere. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere, every day, all line on X, and she's involved directly. All of her promotions, this and that and the other. Even the way she's dressed on this podcast. Whitlock's right about that. And look, what she does is her business, but to blame Caitlin Clark's fans for causing this? Really? Geez. It's pretty amazing. And I'm still really skeptical about all this racism crap, too. I am. Because I know it's a quick way to play the victim and have people, or feel like people are going to back off criticism of you. And look, there is a section of the Angel Reese fan base that believes if you criticize her, or even make fun of her looks, and look, there's all kinds of people that look funny, and you call it out. It's not tied to racism. It got nothing to do with their skin color. I mean, people are going to make jokes, and that's the other problem. Everybody's overly butthurt by every joke ever told nowadays. But you get my point. Yeah, I think Whitlock's right about this. She absolutely puts her skin out there all the time. Bare skin everywhere. But, let's blame Caitlin Clark fans. That, I'm going to tell you, that entire, and the segment is the segment that got clipped was 1 minute and 17 seconds. She looks like shit through that whole segment. Really and truly, she looks bad. She comes out of the other end of that segment, and I don't think it helped her perception-wise like she thinks. It gave me, as soon as she brought up skin color, Jussie Smollett, Bubba Wallace, boom, right in your face. And we kind of know how that whole situation went down. I'm highly skeptical when people start throwing that card out there. Well, I don't know. Whitlock's right on this. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.